messes stuff up. I know this now.
There we go.
Google Hangouts is live, but it says I have an
live.
error with my app. What happens if I hit cancel? There we are. Okay. Let me see if we are in fact broadcasting live to.
Can't we just get Filthy to call you?
No, we're good. We're good. I just heard the feedback loop of pain.
Okay.
Close this.
Okay.
Expand this.
Clicked on the show, the link that's on the Facebook page, and it just says you for 40 seconds.
Perhaps refresh because I just changed it.
Okay. That would probably be effective.
Live. Oh, but it's. Yep. See, that's you talking.
Yeah. Hi, everybody. All right. So I'll pull up that too.
I also have the chat open on my phone and the notes of the show.
The notes of the show.
I require them.
They're handy.
Just like me, handy capable. And Adriel's talking to us. He's probably saying, have a good show. Don't mess up for a lot. He said, you're live. No, you're live. And
well, if he's watching, why isn't he here?
I don't know. Hold on.
Yeah. Anyway.
Trevor's live. You guys going to join him?
He's like, guys, Trevor's live. Are you going to join him? That was a failed test, Adriel. I'm not good at this stuff.
I see.
Since we're live.
I need to turn that down. All right, let's get on with it.
All
Kelly,
right.
who's host? Brian?
I am.
All right, start the show whenever you're ready.
Hello, listeners. This is Slamfire Radio, episode 244 for February 15th, 2018. I'm one of your hosts, Brian the Conquistador.
I am Trevor the Ferlate.
And I'm Kelly Lynn, the classy one.
I'm not so sure. After our conversation this week, creepy came to mind, really.
Creepy?
Yeah.
When she told you some choice words and what to do?
No, it was how much she enjoyed the creepy posts that she was receiving. That means I think she's creepy.
Hey, I wasn't the only one that received it.
Right,
Trevor
but yes, but that post.
Yes.
The Galentines. Happy Galentine's Day. Go get yourself checked, Jason.
I was not gonna go have that. No, I wasn't gonna name names.
I know one of our friends is going to. Squirrel. The cocking indicator on my Bacale 20 gauge is up, which means that the hammer is under spring tension. I'll have to remember to address that. Jay Hines is going to rip his arms off.
Okay. Why?
Well, he sent the Happy Galentine's Day picture to Hines.
Okay.
I was lucky. I did not. Anyway, it's all good.
Why would you take a creepy picture of yourself with a rose in your teeth? And I get that he sends it to Kelly, and I get that he sends it to Stacy, but why would he send it to boys?
I think because of the reaction we're having right now. I think we're actually feeding him exactly what he wants.
I don't want to feed him anything except maybe some arsenic.
Yeah, soaked in diesel fuel. Yes. All right. Anyway, should we get on to what we did in guns?
What about Adriel?
Hi, Adriel. Why aren't you here?
Yeah, Adriel, why aren't you here?
Messages. You should be able to come on the show. Just saying. It's because you hate people. And
I was going to say that he's home with a sick child, but if you want to say he hates people.
Oh, is this child sick? See,
no,
all
but it's
those
funnier my way.
messages that you sent yesterday, all those messages,
way to be classy.
40 of them?
Yeah.
I didn't listen to any of them, so sorry.
I'm standing by my previous comment about your nickname.
Go. Awesome.
All right. So what we did in guns is brought to you this week, as always, by the Calgary Shooting Center, Canada's premier firearms retailer. And this week they have a sale on Trijicon RMR red dots. Get your red dot on for cheaper than normal.
It's a really good price. I clicked on it because I bought a red dot recently.
Yeah, the sales are between $150 and $200 or $220 on the regular retail price. So that's not nothing. That's something.
It's not. Now, if your pistol does not have a what are they called? MOS or AOS? Mm-hmm. There's a special name when your pistol has a plate on the back that you can remove and screw your red dot directly to the slide. Yeah, not so good with the letters, being a French dyslexic. But anyway, if you don't have that plate that's removable, you can get a mount that slides into your rear dovetail, and there are two companies making them: EGW and Henning. And Henning makes them for the Trijicon RMR, and you can get those through Denis. They just come into the country through the distributor, and we've got 2 or 3 coming. We're putting one on somebody's Shadow 2, and we're putting an EGW one on Chris's FNS, which will be pretty cool. So that makes your gun, if you're an IPSC shooter, those mounts have been approved in the production optics division, and because they don't require any, you can change the sights on your gun in production and remain in production provided they don't require any gunsmithing. So because you just drift out the rear sight and drift in the mount, that's considered same rules apply as just swap out your sights. So if you want to hop into production optics, one of those mounts and one of those Trijicon RMRs from the Calgary Shooting Center will get you there.
Now, why didn't I know that there was a production optics division?
Because it's brand new, and it is preliminary. I think that's what they call it. It's not a preliminary. It's they're testing it for a year basically.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, but it's here to stay. SummerSlam is actually the first level 3 match to offer a production optics division. I made it on the. I knew it was coming, so I added it to the registration form, and people were like, "What? This is a thing? I didn't even know this was a thing." So
that's cool.
Awesome.
I think that's good because there's some people, especially like older shooters, they like the dots because of their eyes. I'm not naming names, but they don't want to get bumped.
I'm the youngest one on the show right now. Carry on, Brian. You're absolutely right.
Have a look at all the hosts.
Nobody's going to link you.
No one's.
Which one seems youngest and oldest?
Anyway. Chronological age and age of maturation are often not the same thing.
I'm living proof, and I'm proud of that. I try not to act my age.
Or look your age, apparently.
Yeah, I've always kind of looked younger than I do. Anyway, it is what it is. And that's one of the reasons the beard doesn't work, because it makes me look my age.
He's not allowed to wear a beard.
If only I had not lost my hair and turned gray, I wouldn't look older than I am. So you're right, Brian. These red dots are a great way to keep older shooters or people that, their eyes change in their 40s. And all of a sudden they're like, you see them trying to read something and they're trying to find that sweet spot where their eyes can focus. And when your pistol is punched out on target, sometimes that front sight is not your sweet spot. So the red dot, and just seeing the rear sight or the front sight in the notch of the rear sight can be a challenge as well. So dropping that red dot on there, good to go. So shooters, their option before in sports like IPSC and USPSA, if they couldn't see their iron sights, was to jump right into open. Well, the open division is very competitive, and so some of them are intimidated by that, and the fact that the guns cost between $4,000 and $12,000 is also cost prohibitive for some people. So now they could take a production gun, drop a $300 or $400 red dot on it, and that's it. There's no need for all the other bells and whistles, and you can still shoot factory ammo. You can't shoot factory ammo on a 38 Super. Let's face it. So yes, it's a good thing.
You need a 38 Super Factory. But I'm sure that the trend is going to follow, just like rifles, and the optical sights will become the norm as opposed to the outlier.
Absolutely. Yep. Yeah. We'll see special forces guys with red dots. Once they've been proven that, you can throw them out of a helicopter like a communist and they survive unlike a communist, you'll see that they get adopted for sure.
Yeah. And then it'll just be the norm. It'll just be regular people will be doing it all the time. So, okay. Well, that was interesting. Now we should actually get to what we did in guns. So I guess I should go first because I'm first in the notes. So I got to the range on the weekend, got out the 1022 and did some offhand practice. Thanks to Rick and the guys over at the Canadian Precision Rimfire series for producing me a target that I needed just that day. It was awesome timing. So that was good. So, and I'm working with the journal again and just starting to slowly get rolled into the service rifle season. So that was cool. And then on the weekend, I did something crazy we actually recorded an episode of Modern Rifleman Radio.
You did?
We did. Now,
With Ming? Was Ming on?
Ming was there. Jay was there. And then a funny thing happened.
Kevin?
I edited. No, Kevin said he was busy from doing hard stuff all weekend and he needed a night off, which I thought was good for him because
Yeah.
he does too much.
Spent the day with Kelly.
Thanks
Nope.
a lot.
No, that was not it.
No,
I'm not saying what he did because
he was arming.
he was okay. Well, I didn't want to say it. Anyway. So yeah, we did that, and then I edited the audio and I posted it up, and then I didn't tell Ken that the file was there for him to do something with to post it. So my fail. I fell apart on that whole send the message part. So now he's had it for a couple days. Why he hasn't posted it since then, I don't know. But anyway,
Because it's
there
Ken.
there should be an episode of Modern Rifleman Radio in the month of February, maybe.
Because Ken.
No, the guy's busy. So anyway,
He
that's about it. That's all I've done. That's all I did this week for.
That was a lot still, though, for you.
Well, recording an episode of a different podcast is kind of cool.
Yeah, and it's your own podcast, so. Sorry.
Yeah, sort of, kind of. Does anyone really own podcast? I don't know. Anyway,
Yeah.
it is how it is. Trevor, what did you do?
I got to close the store down last Friday, which was cool. He had to. Normally, I don't work Fridays because he closes the shop on Friday, so it's really not worth my time to drive all the way out there for a couple hours. But he was going out to teach a firearms safety course, firearms ed, non-restricted firearms safety course. And so I went out to close the shop for him so he could leave and get that done. And while I was there, somebody that I know through IPSC brought in an RCMP Colt New Service revolver chambered in .45 Colt. So this revolver belonged to the owner's father, who was a member back in the day when they carried Colt New Service revolvers. And when they were done with them and changed firearm, I don't remember what they went to after this one, did maybe something in .38 for a while before they, anyway, the members were able to buy their revolver for $12.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah. So, a problem is the trigger doesn't return.
Oh.
Yeah. So if you put it in single action, you press the trigger, it drops the hammer, but then the trigger doesn't return. So I disassembled it and I can't find any broken parts. That doesn't mean there are not some worn parts, but given the look of the revolver, I don't think it left the holster very often. The bluing is in excellent condition for a revolver this age. There's not even any like holster wear marks on it. It's just in really, really good condition. So I'm having a hard time to fathom that there are internal parts worn out. It was rather greasy. So I think that the grease has just become old and congealed and was locking up the mechanism, I think. So once we clean all the parts and inspect them, I'll reassemble it and see if it functions. I'm looking forward to that. Sold my last gun safe since I've got a walk-in gun room now with a steel door and locks and all that good stuff. I got rid of my gun safes that I was using, and then right thereafter, I ran into a roof leaking problem and have to tear everything out, like turn the heat off up here. And so I'm pretty concerned because condensation comes from rapid temperature change, does it not? I'm not a scientist, but if it goes hot, cold, right? That's what I thought.
Yep.
So I guess I'm okay that my guns are kept in the cold, but I keep meaning to like wipe down all my blued guns with oil. And of course I'm out of ballistol, but I want to cover them all in oil, the blued ones anyway, to prevent surface rust from forming on them, and put some oily patches down all the barrels until I get my room attic situation sorted out. So yeah, that's a kind of stressful. And then my Daniel Defense lower parts kit arrived from the Red Deer Shooting Center, and they threw some little extra goodies in the box for me, which is awesome. So shout out to those guys. And shout out to somebody at the end who wrote a note on my invoice. And I either have the last of my SLR and kitty cat parts here, or at least on order. And my kitty cat was simply supposed to be an upper, and it ended up picking up a lower. I got a good deal on a lower. Worked out a deal with a listener of the show, Mark Giroux, sold him an Orc lower, and he never even got around to turning it into a gun and bought himself an upper and a lower. Wait, Tammy, if you're listening, he didn't buy anything. He won those, actually, to be fair and be 100% accurate in my information. He didn't buy anything. He won stuff, and I'm buying something back from him for more than I paid for it. So Mark's winning on all fronts. Whew, that was close. Oh, and Tammy, ammo is free. So what else?
It's
Yeah,
not
so
just,
that
not
lower,
just for her, for all the wives and
all the wives,
all the
listening.
spouses, ammo's free.
Ammo's free.
Yes.
Yeah, and if you do buy a gun, they're only $200.
Yeah.
So yeah, my greatest fear is that I die and she sells these things for what I told her they were worth.
Don't worry, we're gonna make sure that happens.
Christina.
There's a new deal. There's
Oh.
a new deal. I've got a Facebook conversation going with the Atlantic Canadian FOs. Most of them are in there, and we go back and forth all the time. And one of them wanted me to adopt him so he could be in the will, blah, blah, blah. And anyway, here's how it's going to be. We're going to have a 1980s style WWF cage match, and everyone who wants the guns in the cage, last person standing. This is open to everyone who wants them, male, female, children, whatever. Everyone who wants them, get in the cage. Anything goes. We'll sign some waivers and stuff to make murder legal under this particular, within these circumstances and context. And yeah, last person standing takes them all. Instead of me saying, Brian, you can have my STI, and Kelly, you can have my 1022s for the Maple Seed program. Screw all that. Just fight to the death and winner take all. I think it's firm, but it's fair. And then right before the show, I was working on Adriel's 1911. We got the slide dovetails cut for his Dawson sights, and we were, told Chinese, Norinco, steel, Chinesium. It's actually an element on the periodic table. Chinesium can be like inconsistent, super hard or not. It wasn't like the metallurgy. While he was cutting the dovetail, it would be like super hard to cut and then super easy on the same cut. So this stuff is just goofy. The Andy tuned the rails. So to get Adriel's slide on, I had to use the lapping tool that locks into the front of the where the barrel bushing goes, and some lapping compound, and got that done. So now the vertical fit is great. There's no up and down play in that slide whatsoever, but the horizontal is disgusting. It just wobbles back and forth. But good news, the barrel hood, it fits tight, and the barrel inside the bushing fits tight. So it should be both accurate and reliable, because it's a little bit on this. I hope it's going to be reliable, a little bit on the sloppy side. So I didn't like the way the trigger felt. Before we cracked his slide, the trigger felt better than it does now. I took those trigger parts out and put in a set that Andy and I did a job on when I was down there at Captain Andy's place after Christmas. Still not really liking how it feels. I had the trigger bow nice and loose in the frame, and it's a little draggy right now. I'd like to run the stone through it again, but I got to get this thing in the mail to him because I've had it for like 18 years. So, yeah, it's going back in the mail tomorrow. And I found his maple seed sling. That was ridiculous. I searched, and while I was searching, I had lost track of it forever. Didn't even know it was here. And then I found it, and then I put it with some paperwork for some IPSC stuff that I was doing that had to go upstairs to the gun room. So I was like, well, it'll be in the gun room. It's a small space. It's not Toronto. I will find it. You think I could lay my hands on it? No freaking way.
I've seen your gun room. There's no way you're gonna lay your hands on anything in there.
Man.
Got too much stuff in there.
It's generally better than this. But anyway, in the end, you know where it was, Brian? It was in a Staples bag with photocopy paper on top of the printer. I stuffed it in there to get it upstairs. And so I'm sending Adriel all these desperate messages like, I don't think I'm going to be able to send it. I've looked everywhere. Christina's looked. I can't find it. I found it. I was looking while leaving a recording, took my thumb off record, found it, and then hit record again. So like the two messages were literally seconds apart. It's kind of funny. So, yeah. All right. Adriel's got a bunch of stuff here. We look forward to hearing about next week. What about you, Kelly? What have you been up to?
I went to the SFRC on Saturday, and I bought myself a new Crossfire Red Dot. Yay! They're on sale, and I got them at a really good price as well. And I also walked away with a whole bunch of swag as well, because they got some new stuff in. I got a t-shirt. Actually, it's a polo shirt.
Nice.
And a mug. All kinds of different stuff. So anyways, yeah, they gave it to me. Yeah. So the Crossfire Red Dot I'm going to put on my new AR, and just because of the fact that you know, I'm gonna have a scope, but I'm also gonna have the red dot too. So I'm gonna. Anyways, what else have I been doing? Working on prizes for the charity shoot. Yeah, we're gonna get some of those in. It looks like we have some, so if anybody wants to have prize or wants to contribute to the charity shoot and the prizes, contact me here at slamfireradio@gmail.com. But Jay Hines and I have been chatting about it, so it's going to be good this year. What else did I do? And not much. That's pretty much it. I didn't go to the range because it was horrible. Although it's getting nicer out, so like Brian, I'm going to be able to get to the range, I think, this weekend.
That guy from Corth called the shop again and told Denis that he was going to sponsor the Maple Seed at the charity event. And told Denis, well, I'm trying to actually go past that. We don't want him to sponsor this one event. We want him to sponsor, Maple Seed.
Well, so the Ely guy is actually Corth. So we're already partners with Corth from out in Alberta. So I was able to send him an email. Well, look at me in my glasses there. Anyways.
I wasn't kidding before.
So I was able to send him an email, and we got together on that. He figured out that Corth is already a sponsor for Maple Seed, but he does want to sponsor the event in New Brunswick, and he also wants to sponsor the event that is the charity shoot too. So, which is awesome.
Oh, sweet.
So I'm I just sent another email actually before I got on the show. So, suddenly Minotaur, who is from England, who's watching. Hello.
Hey there, yeah, I just saw that. Cool.
Yeah, just thought I'd say hello. And Cody McMillan, who thinks Brian is greasy.
Well, Brian is greasy, and I just got an angry text from Mark Giroux about Brian.
Oh,
I don't even know what you said or what you said to Mark, but I know he wants to call and hang up on you.
Oh, that might not be angry though. That might be just he wants to play that game.
Oh, Cody is just mad because I actually spent some dollars outside the Calgary Shooting Center.
Yes.
So I guess I'm a greasy commie. What are you going to do?
Life's like that. Okay, let's get into upcoming events. And the biggest one in the list is the one I'm not going to. You guys are running it. So why don't you guys just talk about it?
All right. So just the highlights. We can announce the charity this week.
Yep.
So this year's charity is going to be the Dalhousie Regional High School Breakfast Program. So it is a local charity, obviously, and it's my high school. So the breakfast program costs about $8,000 a year to run, and is run depends completely on donations in order to buy enough food to feed the students for the year. So with that in mind, that's going to be the charity, and looking forward to helping the kids at the school that I indirectly work at. I'm a member of that staff, but I run my own facility for that school. So pretty excited about that. What else? Handgun class is sold out, and we've got one person on the wait list. So right off the bat, that's a guaranteed $1,500 to feed children. How awesome is that? We haven't even, look, we're months and months and months away, but we already have people committed to donate $1,500 to charity and learn how to be more gooder with their handguns. So that's pretty exciting. Maple Seed Shoot registration is going to come out shortly, so stand by for that. Right now, 20 spots. We'll play with those numbers if we can, based on the size of the range. Kelly and I are looking at that. Yep. You have to register for that, but you don't register through Slamfire. You register through Maple Seed. We will keep you informed as to when that's up and running. Day 3, July 7th, is the actual charity shoot. Registration is at 9 a.m. So you show up, you get your name, and you get your score sheet. We're going to put all the score sheets on one sheet, and you just carry it around with you. And at the end of the day, we'll take one score sheet from you and tabulate all the scores. It's competition, but it's friendly competition. There's no grand aggregate winner or no grand winner. There'll be winners for each event. We're looking at a plaque for first place in the events, and then medals for second and third in the events. So there'll be a mini steel challenge, which you can shoot with pistol from 22 caliber and up, or 22 rifle. If you don't have a holster, and you would like to compete, we will set tables or barrels at the stages, and you can bring your firearm to the line in a case, load it under the instruction of a range officer, and when it's time to go, you'll pick it up off the barrel and shoot your targets, and then unload it, show it clear, reload, put it back on the barrel, and when you're done, you'll unload it, put it in the case, and go away. And then around the trap, around the silhouette, barbecue will be smoke on the water. And then we will open up a rifle range and a pistol range where you can just plink and have fun and chat and try each other's guns, etc., and relax and get lots of shooting done. That it, guys? Anything?
I think that should be.
Those are the highlights.
Just to reiterate, people don't need to pre-register for the charity event. It's a show up and pay and.
Right.
Correct.
Yeah. So.
Correct. Because we're not going to get that many people. Afraid, if we hit 60, it'll be a new record for the charity shoot held in New Brunswick, and I'm hoping we hit 60. But it's nothing we can't handle that morning. All right, give us your name, your address, your money, and here's a score sheet.
Show up, then. I think 60. I think is very doable.
I think so. The locals are more familiar with it than ever, because they keep hearing about it. What's this thing that's been going on and I missed? Oh, well, when's it coming back? So, and we have a heck of a lot of people traveling, like a heck of a lot of people.
You have a lot of people from Ontario and Quebec.
Yep.
People from the U.S. that are coming up as well. So
we got Americans.
Yes, you do. You have one coming from Texas, right? Oh, you have a couple. Maybe never mind.
Yeah, we got Matt from. Matt and his dad, Matt Wendell, from the International Liberty or Death podcast.
Right.
And Styx is talking about coming.
Yes.
And Brian Sheets is asking me about rental cars and what airports to fly into. He keeps going on about his knee.
Yes.
Brian, I don't know if you know this, but you're not going to walk to Canada. Okay? So I don't want to hear about your knee anymore.
If Styx and Edith comes, can you guys find a moose for her, please, this time?
Yeah, actually. Yeah, we're going to shoot a moose.
I'm not saying to poach a moose, but I'm saying poach a moose.
It's not the right time of year to shoot a moose. We can't shoot a moose.
I know.
So,
but that would be wrong.
Yeah.
Everybody except Edith. Everybody saw a moose except for Edith, and it's just like it's so sad.
It's funny. Okay, I want to talk a little bit about the Ferlacci class for a sec, Kelly, if that's okay before we move on.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Kelly. You sound a lot like Brian. So Ferlacci fundamentals will take place July 14th and 15th. Fundamentals on the 14th, beyond fundamentals on the 15th. Things are slow to fill up. So if you're in the class, promote it to your friends. I'm going to say we're going to Bonnyville again. With some emails flying back and forth today, it looks like we've secured Bonnyville again. So if that's going to play a factor in your decision, the range will be Bonnyville. Matthew is supposed to join us on March 22nd to discuss the course that weekend so we can cover it in detail. We're also going to bring on a couple of former students to get their impressions of the class, what they liked, what they didn't like, and help us promote it. So maybe if you have any questions between now and March 22nd that you'd like us to cover during that episode, what we will teach you, curriculum, all that kind of stuff, the equipment you need, let us know. And let's get this thing sold out. So it's $200 a day, and there's lots of place left. So let's try and get this sold out so we can get out there and put on another great class.
Awesome.
That's it.
Cool. All right, let's jump ahead to the news.
Oh, Kelly's not the lead host. You are. That's why I asked Kelly, but it's you the lead host, and that's why you answered. That's funny. Sorry, anyway, Brian.
All right, news. Stanley acquitted. That's all we need to say about that this week, I think.
Yeah, this week. But let's say that we've invited Dave Young from CAPS Training to come on and discuss the finer details of the case. He can comment on it with some authority and not be too speculative. And so that'll
Question.
be yes.
So normally he gets called upon to do some testimony at cases that have this sort of thing.
He's testified as an expert witness. Yeah.
Right. Did he testify at this one? Do you know?
No, I don't.
Okay.
I don't think so.
Right. Okay.
It would be awesome if he did. Then he would really have a lot of insight. But,
yeah, I'm going to make sure that I read up on it because.
Yeah, Brian, you've been following it closer than I have.
I have, and I find several aspects of the whole scenario fascinating. One of the things I find really disturbing, though, is I cannot find a consistent narrative as to what actually happened during the incident, and it seems to be there's a lot of misleading information being produced by newspapers and that sort of thing.
Right.
Imagine that.
I read an account this week that really made the people who were involved in the incident one side to be seemingly perfectly innocent, had they were on their way to church and were doing nothing wrong, and it was very heavily biased and very different than what I've read from the court case. But at the same time, I'm also reading stuff in the court reported from the court documents that just, okay, I don't know, I can't even follow what your narrative is. Have you read the paragraph you just wrote? Because it makes no sense. You're gibberishing. So
yeah. Anytime a young person is shot, there is an aspect of society that comes to that person's defense and tries to paint them as an innocent victim. I have a problem with calling a 22-year-old a boy. I've seen the person's Facebook, and this does not look like a choir boy to me. And there was, if you look at, what was some of the testimony in court, there was drinking going on, and was there not a loaded weapon in their vehicle, Brian?
There was a weapon in the vehicle. Whether it was loaded or not, I don't know.
Oh, okay. All right. But there was alcohol involved, and a weapon, and trespassing, and attempted thievery.
Yeah, there's some other details of what may or may not have happened that I've heard. I've sort of gotten hints of, but nothing concrete to say, yes, this definitely happened. And it's, and then there's, the actions of the now acquitted Stanley, and, were they justified or not? I'm not 100% sure. And we'll talk about all those things with Dave Young, because,
Yep.
Yeah, we don't know much about it. We don't know. There's two sides. Well, there's three sides to every story, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So we'll get a little bit more information. I'm going to read as much as I can about it, and
it's been very interesting. I think the real takeaway is that there's no winners in this situation. Nobody who is involved in this won anything.
Nope. And that's usually what happens. Nobody wins in this. So
completely horrible for everybody. Yeah.
So, is it a win for self-defense advocates?
Here's the reality. I think that it is, but in some ways, it's. I need to read the whole entire thing, but I also know that the Crown might appeal it. So.
Yeah, and okay, I got one final comment. I'm reading articles about people in the legal profession concerned with comments from government officials.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the comment. Yeah. Okay, you know what? Sorry, I have to say it, but the ruling, Justin Trudeau had no business saying anything about it. He should have kept his mouth shut. Sorry, just had to say it.
Why are you sorry? That's how you feel.
Because she's Canadian. She's sorry for everything. That's how we talk.
Yeah.
It's just,
Yeah. No, I agree with you, Kelly. And I don't think
it doesn't matter whether what he supports or doesn't support. He needed to keep his mouth shut. He had no business saying anything.
This is a side of Kelly that I enjoy seeing, and I don't see often enough.
No, you don't.
Yeah. But, I certainly wouldn't feel very good as the acquitted to have the Prime Minister of the country say, "Yeah, you're guilty."
Yeah, isn't that nice?
Yeah, that tells me that the PM does not represent me as that acquitted person.
Yeah, well, I can say he doesn't represent me, and I haven't been acquitted of anything. I lost my train of thought. Anyway, he did. Yeah.
There's better ways that the PM and the Minister of Justice could have expressed concerns.
Right.
or say that they understand both sides of things and they're going to investigate, and that's fine. But the wording that they chose was horrible. So
Yeah, or they could have just did what Kelly suggested and zip it.
Yeah.
that's not. But that is not our prime minister's style.
No, it's not our
The,
prime
re-
minister's
the
style.
reality is he's very supportive of Aboriginals and Aboriginal rights, which I actually,
Which he darn well better be.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
and I understand that as well, because that's that's where I am with my profession, what I'm doing right now, as am I working with Aboriginals. However, yeah, when he needed to let it play out. You can actually express it. You know,
And
exactly what Brian said. There's no winners in this, right?
Yeah.
So, anyways, my dog wants out. So I'll let you guys go on to new gun stuff. I'll be back.
yeah.
Okay,
So,
yes.
but Kelly said
Prevent your puddles. Yes, go ahead.
Kelly said he's a strong supporter of Aboriginal rights, as well he should be, and all Canadian politicians need to be.
Yeah.
First Nations people were here first, and we have treaties, but this is not a First Nations issue. This is not an Aboriginal issue. Maybe some of the issues that led them, there are some issues that led them to be where they were that night and attempt to steal things, whatever. There's some socioeconomic issues that exist across all Canadian reserves, but he didn't get shot because he was Aboriginal. He got shot because he was in the wrong place at the wrong time doing something he shouldn't have been doing. That's why he got shot, and his First Nation heritage has nothing to do with that. So when if I would have been there with Brian and Adriel, one of us would have been shot. It doesn't. It's
if we were doing the same things that the
yes,
I believe you're right.
He didn't shoot this man because he was First Nations. He shot this man because there was 4 of them, and he felt threatened.
Or certainly there's no evidence that he did anything racially based. But I haven't seen anything that would say that. So
yeah, I want to read more about it so I can understand what exactly. Yeah. But yeah, there is no justification for being on that person's property, and yeah, and again, you know what? There's some other things that the whole thing about the gun just went off and all that. Well, you know what? Maybe, anyways.
That's I find the case also technically interesting from that aspect, right. Just from the gun nerd aspect of things. So. I'm trying to really look, and it's relatively easy for me to be very impartial because I'm not a rural landowner in Alberta who feels that they're being preyed upon by criminal elements, and that they have no means to have police there in a timely fashion to address things and solve the problem. So I'm pretty far away from this situation, so I can be impartial. I think I'd like to think I'm being impartial. So I hope.
It's going to be a really good show,
It's possible. It's possible. Cool. It's good. Okay, so for us not talking about it, wow, we're talking about it. All right, let's get back into the stream of the show and talk about new gun stuff. I'm going to take the first one here, if that's cool with you guys. ATRS, Alberta Tactical Rifle, is now releasing upper and lower build sets. So you can now get like modern modern hunter receivers, I believe.
Is it hunter or varminter?
I don't know. I'm just looking at the feed here on CGN, and I'm not seeing.
Yeah, it goes to the last page, not the first page. So I'm going back to the first page. Modern varminter style, upper and lower. Modern varmint style, yeah. So it looks like it's the varminter, which is the 223.
Right.
So I have questions.
Shoot.
Sure.
Same questions. Same questions I had about the BCL 102 when they started to sell receiver sets. I was always initially wrongfully under the impression that the BCL 102 was much like Alberta Tactical Rifle Supplies rifles, in that a lot of the components were proprietary and made by them for their rifle. I've since learned that no, the BCL 102 is compatible with AR-10 parts, much like the SLR is compatible with AR-15 parts. I know this rifle is not compatible with 100% of the AR-15 parts. So I'm going to buy their receiver. I'm going to buy their upper. And then how many other parts do I have to buy from them in order to complete it?
Yeah, I didn't know.
You might as well just let them build or buy their basic rifle. They sell one rifle that's $2,700, and it's their production rifle, if you will. It doesn't have all the bells and whistles. It's the one rifle they build and stock and sell. If you want to order a rifle, they're pretty much kind of like a boutique where, okay, build me this. I want this handguard. I want this stock. I want this barrel. I want this.
Yeah. Yeah. I think the advantage would be for somebody if they already have parts laying around they want to use. They already have a grip. They already have stocks.
Yes, but
they have
how many? Which ones?
That's yeah, no, I understand. But it's still going to be cheaper than paying ATRS's time to source the parts and put them on and all that. You can do that yourself. So some people will want to do it this way.
There's a bit of a myth there, though, Brian, and I commented on CGN about this, where somebody said it's cheaper to build an SLR because I already have all the parts.
Yeah, but you've already paid for those.
Unless those parts were gifted to you, you have to factor in the cost of those parts in your build. Like, if I took one of my ARs off the wall and stripped the parts out of it, those parts still have a number attached to them.
Yes.
And then I got a stripped AR that I can't do anything with.
Yeah. No, for sure. You're right, but it's perceived as they don't have to cough out more cash. They've already spent the money.
Yeah.
They're reusing money they've already spent. I think that's
I know.
Yep, I get that. All right. Anybody want to take the next one?
The next one. Oh yeah.
It's the Dominion Arms. It's the MagFed back. It's the Dominion Arms backwoods pump action shotgun with detachable mag, and it's in 410. Yeah. So
great. Do we put this in
$25?
Yeah, it's not terribly expensive, but it's on pump action 410.
Yep.
Yeah. Whatever. Okay, cool.
Well, what's cool about this is October season falls into deer season, and so you've got one mag with slugs and one mag with birdshot.
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah. Okay, cool. Thanks for pointing.
We're giving it to you.
I will not turn down a gifted firearm. I will not. I will take them all. All right. Okay. Next one. The B&T. I always say that wrong. Is it? How do you say that? Their first, the actual name of that company. Is it Berger and Tomet? I don't. Anyway, so they've got their AG GMH9, which is basically a submachine gun looking semi-automatic pistol.
It looks like the CZ Scorpion Evo.
Yeah, that kind of thing. Yeah, it's a pistol caliber carbine shorty thing. And it's got a restricted FRT now. So.
No. If I'm going to buy a pistol caliber carbine, I've got too many non-restricted options in Canada to buy one that's restricted.
Yeah. No, it's just for people who just want something different.
That's fine. And it is, and it's cool. It's a submachine gun all day, every day. It's cool looking.
Yes, except it's not a machine gun. It's a sub-not machine gun.
Sub-not machine gun, yeah. Also, if it doesn't share a pistol mag with something, enjoy your 5 rounds. Like, I wish that CZ had made a version of the Evo to take the CZ75 mag.
Yes.
Even if they just made that they took the trouble to make us one with an 18.5-inch barrel for Canada. Would it have been that much of a stretch to make one for us with a pistol mag?
Yeah.
You know how much more they would sell? Well, I don't know if they'd sell a lot more, but I'd have one. I don't.
Yeah. And I'm just reading through the comments, and this is this does not have a pistol variant and does not have a pistol magazine, so you're limited to 5 rounds. So, yeah, not. Yeah.
At least the Evo is non-restricted.
Yeah. Okay, cool. And the last item we have, Iron Guns is bringing in. Hey, wait a minute. that didn't go to the right place.
PMR 30.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
Hey, it didn't go to the right one.
No, the link is
The link's
wrong.
broken.
Uh-oh.
Anyway, all right.
PMR
So,
30.
yes,
I'll just
that's
do a quick search on CGN
That's a
for
Keltec
PMR 30.
product, right? The Keltec.
Unfortunately,
PMR?
yeah.
Yeah, it's a PMR 30. It's a 30 round in the States. It's a 30 round pistol that shoots 22 mag, I think.
Yep.
Yeah. So
Toby had one.
Who
Toby,
had one?
remember Toby?
Oh, did he? Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
So here's a pistol designed to hold 30 rounds of ammo, and we get it in Canada, and it holds 10.
Yep.
It's such a crime.
It really
30 rounds of 22 Magnum in a handgun would be a hoot.
Yes. Now you mentioned that the magazine thing. There was a letter that came out today, or an email from CSSA where they were talking about magazine capacities,
Yep.
and there was a couple police forces in Canada that officers have lost magazines, fell out of their pouches, whatever, and they were appealing to the public, if they find the magazine, please bring it to the nearest police station. That's great. Police magazines are prohibited devices.
Yeah, so I'm going to get caught driving it to the police station. Thank you very much.
That's exactly right. So the police are technically telling you to break a law, or they're saying, people who aren't police, who have a full capacity magazine, isn't a big danger to society. We're happy to have them bring that back to us. That would be great.
Huh.
How does it work, guys? Which is it? Is it a really dangerous thing or not a dangerous thing? You can't have it both ways.
There was a certain group of correctional officers who rented our range and left one of their HK mags on one of our props, and it kind of got crushed with a sledgehammer.
I see.
Nobody even wanted to take it off the property.
Oops.
Yeah, no, I can see that.
Yeah, so I'm looking at this PMR 30, and it's right away I see the same thing that I see in all Keltec firearms that I don't like, and it's two pieces of plastic clamshelled together with nuts and bolts, just like a toy gun.
Yeah, see, that's where I think their new bullpup is different. I don't think it's all clamshelled together with a like that, but it is a common Keltec.
Like the RDB, and not the RDB. The what's the 308 they have? The RFB. Yeah, RFB is looks like it's a Keltec, but it looks like it was made by somebody other than Keltec. So if the RDB is like that, then it should be all right.
Yeah, I think it's okay. Cool. Alrighty. So that's it, and we'll get on to our main topic. Where is our main topic?
I just sent him the word asking him to click on the link. So
awesome.
He's been standing by. I told him 45 minutes. It's 52. Pretty good, guys.
Not bad.
Not bad.
It's all Kelly's fault. She had to go let her dog it.
Yeah, because we didn't keep talking while she was gone. We totally.
Yeah.
And I'm feeling.
I didn't even know she left.
Well, she wasn't gone for very long, and I'm a little more comfortable, Kelly, since we're not in your bedroom this episode.
Yeah,
we're not.
No, I'm downstairs in the living room. Yeah, he said it was creepy. I can't do the man cave because it looks like it's horrible.
Oh, mine looks great? No, come on. Trevor's at least has guns behind him. He's doing it right.
Ta-da!
I should go downstairs and take pictures. You guys would be going, oh my god.
You bet I would.
Forgot that we were still live. I just caught myself.
Everybody.
I was gonna make bedroom jokes.
You can do that once we sign off, and I'll.
Yeah, let's not. For Trevor, don't shut down the live feed, please. It'll take us 2 minutes to get back.
Yes, that was a pain in the butt.
Yes, well done.
My first day
figuring that stuff out. I know you did that well.
All off of one screenshot, which didn't have a lot of information once you got in there.
Yeah, well, I realized when I came downstairs, I wolfed down my dinner so I could come downstairs and try and help you with that. And then I realized, oh yeah, I don't have access to that account. I can't do anything.
Can't do nothing for you. Sorry for a lot.
No. Yeah.
Every other email, Dustin has replied within nanoseconds.
There you go.
Time to stop that. Now it's time to come on.
We should just actually say hello to everybody who's watching. It's now 13 visitors, so there was 14. We lost somebody.
Whopping 13.
Mm-hmm.
Am
I'll
I?
send the-
I think
Hey,
most
there
of
he is.
Hello.
Hey,
Hey,
Dustin. How are you?
I am well. I can't see myself. Is the camera not working?
I
Yeah,
see you
yeah.
holding a camera.
Yeah, you don't
Uh,
seem to have your camera on.
Dustin,
Yo. Oh,
you're live. As of right now, you are live. So
very
keep-
concerning.
keep that in mind.
Yes. Govern yourself accordingly, please.
Maximum swearing. Understood.
Understood.
Yes,
Yeah, perfect.
Yes.
Dustin, how do you pronounce your last name, or do you just want to let us like totally ruin it?
It's Lang.
Lang. All right.
1 second. It's having issues with my camera. This is brilliant.
Dustin, you've been on the show before, haven't you?
Not on this show. No.
Really?
No.
Hmm.
For sure else.
I thought you've been on before.
Dang
Maybe it was some other podcast I was on.
Yeah, it might have been. I've been on a couple.
No.
Sorry, I don't know. It's why are we having issues here? Sorry, give me 1 minute to try and figure this out. It's telling me Hangouts can't use this camera. I don't know why. Balls.
We'll pretend.
Yeah, pretending is good. Quick question for you, Trevor.
Yes, sir.
So since I had mentioned a gift, have you or do you have in your collection 41 Action Express round?
No.
Excellent.
I didn't even know that was a thing.
I know it existed for like 4 years, so it's almost not a thing.
Wow.
Yeah. Give me a second here. I'm gonna grab another computer
Sure.
and might attempt this with my laptop. Be right back.
All right. And while he's doing that, I'm going to go drop the hammer on my Bacale.
And I'm going to go do something else important.
Okay, so listeners, Dr. Kelly.
Hi. Hi, Andrew. Well, we only got 11 listeners now. Or viewers. Anyways. Hi, everybody. Bill Wilson, are you watching? If you are, please let me know so that I know I have to catch up with you on Fitbit. Apparently he's not.
Who's not?
Bill Wilson.
Bill Wilson?
Bill Wilson.
What about him?
I was just wondering if he was watching, because if he is, that means he's not at the gym and I can keep up with him on my Fitbit. I just have to go to the gym after this, that's all.
This is actually unfortunate that I'm here because this is it sounds really weird, but I actually listen to you guys when I go to the gym. That's my thing. Listen to
do you?
podcast. Yeah, so I get one less podcast while I'm messing around.
I mean, you can actually listen to this episode so you see how you did and how you sounded and stuff.
No. That's a bad idea. I don't know how you guys handle that. All right.
Trevor listens the next day and then he critiques us.
I used to listen the same night, but Adriel doesn't get it out in time. Matthew used to, just saying.
Oh, well, he gets it
I-
out pretty quickly.
I miss listening to Matthew.
Yeah, we all do. He's coming back.
Yeah. Don't worry,
Good.
he is.
Oh, it's too bad he's not here because I have airplane stories for him.
Oh,
Oh.
cool.
Yeah, I went to the Aeronautics and Space Museum outside of Portland. I went and sat in the Spruce Goose. It was a whole big thing. I'm in.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, it was so cool. Sorry, I'm just logging in on another device.
Have you been to the BC Aviation Museum?
Oh, hell's yeah. Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Heck yeah. Yes.
I was there 2 summers ago I was there.
Yeah, for a brief moment, I thought I was going to parlay my mechanical engineering degree into an aeronautical engineering degree, and that never happened.
Oh, that's better.
So,
Sorry. Trying to be fast with this.
that's okay.
I did a bunch of tests. My camera works on Skype and everything else in the world. It's not that old. It's like a year old. I don't know why Google Hangouts having an issue with
We
it.
keeping you up there, Trev?
Yeah. And we still got to do another one after this.
Yeah.
No
Sorry.
kidding, Brian. Last night, 7:30. Slept all night.
Good for you.
Oh, I just heard yelling. I think the cats are fighting. Poor Steve. He's still got the cone on his head.
Oh,
So we don't leave them alone together when we're here or when we're at work, in case
yeah,
So
shenanigans.
yeah, she had her phone on the bed the other day, and Steve stuck his face down like this over the phone, and she said that the cone lit up like a lampshade. He's so endearing with that on. I've got some of the coolest pictures of him doing the whole head sideways thing, looking up at you through the cone. So he was staring there in the kitchen. I was at the sink, and he was looking up at me like this with his head sideways, right? And I walked away, and I looked over, and he was still staring where I had been standing. So he may have actually been like looking through me. That's my special boy.
Well, yeah, and he was special before you got him.
Mm.
And yeah, I'm not sure living with you makes someone less special.
You learn tolerance and understanding and patience. And people always tell me that they have to work harder when I'm around. So
Yeah.
that's good. I take out the best in people.
Okay. Can we tell a story for the live listeners? Remember you sent me an email, a Facebook message. Do you want to know what it would be like if we lived together? And my first response was, did Christina kick you out?
That's right. Yeah, you didn't see the joke at all. You just thought I actually was looking for a place to live. Thanks, man.
I thought that was the joke in and of itself. She's finally snapped. That's it.
I do the snapping around here.
So I asked for jokes while we were waiting. I said, give us a joke. So Andrew Rodriguez, he says...
There he is. Oh,
Sorry, I'm just trying to eliminate sound here.
Yeah, I think you need to shut off your other computer.
There we
Right.
go.
all right.
Yes.
Go ahead, Kelly.
So Andrew says, a tournament walks into a bar and asks, is the bartender here? You get it?
So a landlord was going to evict the yoga instructor, and the yoga instructor said, "Namaste."
Terrible.
Weak.
That's awful.
Terrible.
What
I'm
do you
sorry
want? I got it
about
from a
that.
17-year-old.
There we go.
My student told me that joke today. There he is.
There, sorry. That was delightful.
You're sort of there. All right. Say something again. See if you take on the full screen.
Yeah, can you hear me there? now?
Yeah, we hear you. We see little you with the flag in the
you don't
background.
You don't see big me. Oh, that's
No.
weird. I
Yeah.
don't know.
I think you're still connected on your other.
Oh
machine.
yeah, give me, you're right.
Yeah,
Give me a
that-
second.
That's what's going on.
Let me eliminate that.
He's a prop master, not a cameraman.
Well, no, it's there's a whole thing. Just 1 minute.
Chris Anderson's gonna love your hair, by the way.
Oh yeah, that's totally a thing. When was the last time you had a blue-haired guest? Chris Anderson.
Chris Anderson,
Yeah.
yeah.
I hope he's.
There he is.
Watching. There we go.
Should Facebook him.
Yeah.
Yep.
But then Chris will be disappointed to find out he's probably not a furry.
Well, you never assume.
Don't
That's
judge.
why I said
yeah.
probably. And
Yeah.
there's no judging.
And furries are fun.
If you say I'm not judging. I've got some awesome mental images, but no judgments.
Yeah, I'm out.
And furries are fun. Quote of the episode. Kelly Lynn, everyone. And furries are fun. Oh, the best quote of any Slamfire episode so far was Tracy, right? What she said last week or the week before. You're
Right.
gonna get more rod. That was hilarious.
I forgot. There were so many things that my mind went right in the gutter with when she was talking.
Yeah, you're not gonna get less rod. You're gonna get more rod.
All right.
Dustin.
Oh goodness. Now we can't hear you.
Yeah, now we can hear you.
Okay, live TV. Live. Anyways, so suddenly Minotaur from England, he says, I'm reading a book right now, and it's about anti-gravity. It's impossible to put down. Yeah,
Dustin,
Andrew,
you were better
we
off
got
with the
that.
headset, man. All right.
So we're working on it.
He either gave me the finger or said 1 minute.
1 minute.
I think he's all frustrated with technology.
Pulling out the earbuds.
Ooh, look at that. I once ate 2 pieces of string and they came out tied together. I shit you not. That is the best one. Don't worry.
Kelly, you really enjoyed that.
All right, I've given up on the camera. I would
Yeah,
rather
yeah,
just Chalkins.
We're better
Sure.
off. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're a live video feed of an audio podcast. We are not a live video podcast. So
Exactly.
fair enough.
Anyways,
All right,
Oh,
back to the show
Adriel's
notes.
getting excited about his editing skills.
So, you want to do a couple of seconds of silence, Brian, to create that editing point.
By the way, is anybody writing down edit points?
No. Up until we no.
Beautiful.
You ready to go, Dustin?
Oh, I'm always ready. I
right.
apologize. I don't know why that's an issue, but it is.
Oh, it is what it is.
All right, good. So we'll give about 5 seconds of silence, and I'll introduce Dustin Lang, prop master.
You doing this or am I doing this?
Why don't you do this?
Fine. All right. You want me to do the intro too?
Sure.
Okay. Couple more seconds of silence then, and then and then we'll start. All right, and it's time for the main topic. Joining us this week is Dustin Lang. Dustin is a prop master out in British Columbia. Dustin, I'm not even really sure if I know what a prop master is, but I've got a pretty good idea. I'm going to let you explain it. Welcome to Slamfire Radio.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Oh, it's my pleasure. You've been listening for a while, yes?
Yeah, absolutely. For the last couple of years, pretty much nonstop.
Awesome. So let me, I want to get this out of the way right away because I know that listeners are dying to know. Are you the one responsible for putting AR-15s without rear sights on the set of The Walking Dead? Is that your fault?
No, but very funny that you bring that up because I was literally talking to the props master of Van Helsing this afternoon about exactly that because season 2, it's all over it. But I know there's a new guy taking over this year for at least that show because I was like, you need to deal with this or else I'm going to take your job. So,
Good.
I actually threatened to call his boss and try and take his job because it's actually driving me crazy.
It should drive you crazy. So tell us what you do and then tell me or tell the listeners how a mistake like that happens. So let's start with who you are, what your involvement is with guns and the film industry.
Okay, so yeah, my name's Dustin Lang. I'm props master in Vancouver. I do film, television, sort of a little bit of everything. I've got some series and some other stuff under my belt. A props master is not just responsible for guns, which is contrary to a lot of popular opinions. Anything that an actor touches or, is mentioned in the script or could in any way be potentially my problem becomes my problem. So if they're eating it, if they're drinking it, even silly things like license plates on cars, that's all my problem. And so usually on a standard short show, like I'll have like a props list breakdown of sometimes 11, 12, 1,300 individual items that I'm going to be responsible for over the course of a show. So guns can be a small part of that, or on a show like The Walking Dead, or even like I said, Van Helsing, or anything like that, they can become a key point. In which case, it's going to be something I'm really going to focus on. I did a show a couple of years ago, the Marine 5, and that was heavily firearms related, and I had nice breakdowns with every character, every single weapon that they were going to use over the course of it. In which case, I hand that information off to my assistant and to my on-set props person, and they're going to sort of try and abide by what I've laid out for them if I'm not there on set every minute to supervise. And that's the reality, is that a props master is not necessarily there every minute to supervise. We have an entire team that works for us. I've usually a crew of 4 at least doing different jobs. My on-set props person is the person who's going to ultimately be handing off that stuff on set to an actor. But in reality, a screw up like that starts with being my problem, and someone down the line should have caught it. Unfortunately, the reality is that the reason it doesn't get caught is because most people, even in this industry, don't know a whole bunch about guns. Like, we're required to have our firearms licenses. It's a necessity to be in props within any of the unions. Outside of the unions, like doing non-union shows, not necessarily, but I don't know any even non-union show where like your props master wouldn't have at the very least their gun license. I have my firearms business license on top of it. Gives me a little bit more leeway as far as handling, replicas, prohibited devices, things like that. Again, like the Marine 5, we had things like knuckle dusters, and there was like a World War II trench knife that was potentially going to be a thing. And even though it didn't end up in the movie, I still had to get it and show it to producers, and just being able to do that instead of being like, well, I can't legally handle that, that's
So, Dustin, do you also have what's referred to as a theatrical armor's license?
yes, that would be the one.
So, with that theatrical armor's license, can you tell the listeners the kind of toys that you're allowed to have that we're not?
If you can dream it, I can have it, technically speaking. One gunny friend of mine called it the full meal deal as far as a firearms license. So, my firearms business license lets me be in possession of everything from prohibited devices. So you're talking about, again, knuckle dusters or suppressors. We don't really usually run real suppressors because they can be really dangerous when you're running blank rounds. I know that there was a team in Toronto actually had one explode. So usually, when we're running low-powered blank rounds anyway, we just generally just use faux suppressors. But technically, my license allows for that. Fully automatic, short barrel handguns, prohibited devices like replicas, because we run, exclusively replica stuff wherever possible as well.
So, you get called to a job, and the script calls for AK-47s.
Yep.
Your theatrical armor's license allows you to have AK-47s in your possession. You can test them, all that good stuff, take them to the range. How do you acquire an AK-47 in Canada to then rent to a film set?
Well, for myself, for a lot of that stuff, I still go through. We've got Toronto and Vancouver both have basically like armory hubs, if you will. There's a big company here. I won't mention their name because I know that they don't love being public about a lot of that stuff. And there's another one in Toronto where a bulk of that stuff comes from. There's also, I technically can have a whole conversation with the CFO about this. I technically can own some of that stuff, so I can rent it out to a production as well. But at this point in my life, and just because of where I live, it's sort of prohibitive, the storage requirements and the constant monitoring. So for me, I rent from an armory. If it's anything super crazy, big or heavy duty, if we got tons of machine guns going, we'll usually have a dedicated armorer bring that stuff out. It saves me time and stress as well. But it all comes from sort of central armory companies, if you will.
Neat.
And yeah, but like I said, there's a few of us, like we can technically own and possess. I haven't jumped in that pool myself as far as, AK-47s and things like that, because I'm trying to avoid the storage hassle as long as possible, because there's a caveat of 24-hour monitoring, a couple of other things that I have just been sort of avoiding. Next year or two, I'll probably dive into that just because I can.
Yeah, I would definitely start getting prohib handguns.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Handguns.
Yeah, so I mean, stuff like that. The prohibited devices, that's where it is really, really nice. There's just the ability to handle and possess that stuff without a lot of hassle is huge, because I can't tell you how many times I've been in a production meeting and they've asked for knuckle dusters, which seems like something simple, but you try and tell a producer, and before I had this license, try and tell a producer, I legally can't possess that even to show you it, because I will go to jail. So, yeah.
So, what have you worked on that was kind of mainstream that most listeners would know about?
Super mainstream. I haven't done anything really crazy mainstream. Most of my stuff has been like to video stuff and DVD. I've actually got the Marine 5 DVD in front of me because it was, I don't know, my name's on it. That's entertaining.
What is it? Sorry?
A movie called The Marine 5. It was the fifth in the Marine
5
series. Yeah. We shot that one last year, and that was the most machine gun fire I've ever done on a single show.
Nice.
Yeah, I think we spent like $50,000 just in ammo, which was great. So,
oh man,
yeah.
So, how does one become a prop master? Tell us how you got into this business.
So, very hilariously, completely by accident. I went to the U of S for mechanical engineering. I'm from Saskatchewan, and I studied mechanical engineering at the University of Saskatchewan. Realized I did not want to potentially sit in an office working on CAD my entire life. When I got out of university, I did a couple months as an EIT, in engineering training, and I worked in one of the sort of saddest environments I think I've ever been in. There's like a cinder block room with, taupe walls and fluorescent lights with an engineer who'd been working there for 20 years, signing off on all of my paperwork. And so made the conscious decision to move out to Vancouver. I had some other stuff go on. I've actually, unfortunately, suffered a gay bashing in Saskatoon, which was the final straw, if you will, to get me to move. So after that, I moved to Vancouver and decided to pursue film. I went to film school. I thought I was going to be a camera operator when I got out of film school, and it was a sheer fluke. I was doing like some camera stuff. I had my own videography company. As I've said, I've done some video stuff for the CCFR. I've done some video stuff for Rod. That's actually how I met Rod, was when I was like done film school running my company. Is I offered to sort of help tweak some of the stuff he was doing in YouTube at the time, and we became friends that way. But it was a pure accident. It was someone I went to film school with who was doing props on a show, and they needed to take 4 days off for a dentist appointment. And they were like, can you come cover for me? You've got your gun license, right? And I was like, yeah, I can do all that stuff. And it turned into a career. I did a good job. I ended up getting hired for the rest of that show, a bunch of other shows. A couple years later, my props master ended up disappearing, and I got he went on to something bigger, and I got a promotion, and I've just been doing it ever since.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's been kind of like a learning curve that way, because like I didn't get into this business or to this job intentionally. It was a complete accident, and I've just sort of been acquiring things as I've realized I've needed them. There are some things I probably would have done maybe differently. I would have definitely applied for my business license earlier than I did. It was like a 2-year process getting that sorted out. So,
wow.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Well, part of that's also because they had some issues a couple of like 4 or 5 years ago with people working in film who weren't necessarily working in props, but got their business license so that they could have prohibited stuff, autos and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And some articles came out courtesy of the CBC, and the RCMP really clamped down on that license. So.
Yeah, the only other person I know of, one other person who has it, and I don't know how much they actually work in it, but they do have it in case something comes to town. He could be their guy. He either has what they need or can source it.
Oh, exactly. And then that's kind of my goal too. Like, it's not something I don't work with guns every day. Like, the last show I did was a stupid TV movie, and I mean, it was just something to pay the bills, but sometimes a gun license isn't completely necessary, but the day that it is, it's nice to have, and it's nice to be that guy that has a little bit more information in that regard. As I was saying, a lot of props people don't know a lot about guns. I've been hired on shows because producers or PMs know that I do.
Yeah, so you're actually you're a double threat. You're a prop master and a theatrical armor. There are guys out there that just have the theatrical armor's license, and they just want to get called to set when the script calls for guns.
Exactly. Yeah. And for me, that's the one positive to having that license and being that way, is that instead of having to pay someone $700-800 a day, and I think that's usually whereabouts the theatrical armor gets paid on a day-to-day basis, they can pay me my flat rate, and I can bill them an extra $200 or $300 for the day as an armor and save them $500-600.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so you're going to get called upon and get more work, but
Absolutely.
and you'll be known in the industry as the prop master who's also the theatrical armor.
Yeah,
and they won't have to call some guy who's never been on a movie or film set before and doesn't have a clue which way is up.
Well, and that's the big problem, and that was what was the big motivator for me when I went after the license first place. I was doing again, it was like a small like detective TV movie sort of deal, and the armorer we had out was somebody that was exactly that. He's somebody you call out. He's your budget armorer, not one of the bigger names. I know some amazing armorers in town, by the way. I'm gonna say that there are some great armorers in town. Again, I won't list their names for their own reasons, but I love them. They're all great friends. But there are also some really terrible ones. And the one on that show, I got into a yelling match with because he was he was trying to show an actress what was going to happen when the gun went off, and so he discharged a firearm without telling anybody it was going to happen, which is
Oh, jeez.
on set and a huge no-no. And like, you know, for me, that's at the end of the day, it's my responsibility, regardless of the fact that he's the armorer on set. He still works for me. He's still part of my sort of supervision, and it was a big ordeal. So that was the motivator. It was like I can do it better and I can do it safer. Yeah.
Brian, you were going to ask a question?
Well, I think he actually answered my question, because I was curious as to how do I get a license? How do I get myself in a position where I can go buy machine guns and prohibited firearms with a theatrical license?
Apply.
What are the actual requirements that you have to meet in order to attain that license?
Like for myself, I ended up doing just like a huge submittal of everything that showed I had a reason. And I've actually wondered this, because I know a couple of people who just have their theatrical armor license, and I don't know how they ended up with it. For me, like I had to submit my union status and things like that I'm like listed as like an IATSE 891 props master, that, you know, here's a record of all the shows that I've done. Here's I also was thankfully, because I do a lot of business with one of the armory companies in town, the guy that owns it, you know, he's been in the business for 30 years, and he sort of shepherded me through the process. And he also is, you know, he's on first name basis with our local CFO, so he was able to sort of give his input as well as a recommendation. So like all that stuff came into play, and there was still, like I said, background checks and more information that was submitted and more information that was submitted. My business had to be vetted. Like I had to submit my actual business. I like ended up going through the whole CRA process. Like before, my business was just sort of like a side business, but I went through the whole business registry process. This is, you know, what I do. This is a whole thing. There was a lot of steps.
So it's not something that somebody just does on a whim. Hey, I'm just going to apply for this so that I can have prohibs and full autos.
No, right now you definitely need heavy justification for it, and even then there's vetting done. But I think back in the day, like 10 years ago, even, yeah, I would say you could probably get away with it. But just looking at the process that I went through, I don't think you could.
Okay. Yeah, all right. I've already lost interest.
Yeah, and the other person who I know has the theatrical armors license was a dealer first.
Right.
So,
and that was the other talk, was like with the CFO. He's like, when you do get into, because, you know, I've had a couple of conversations with him now. He's like, when you do finally get into purchasing some of this stuff yourself, it's like you realize you're gonna possess it forever. And I was like, yeah, that's a thing, because like I've got lots of guns. I do. I'll put that out there. I've been a collector for a long time. Well, I've been an enthusiast for a long time, not a collector. But all this stuff I can technically sell if I, you know, decide I don't want something. I can sell it fairly easily. But when you get into the prohibited stuff, that's not the case. Like you can only sell it to people with that license, with that, you know, purpose, right? So
yeah, you can. Yeah, it's yours forever until you sell it to another armor.
Yeah, but then I have to find an armorer that wants it, an armorer that wants to pay me for it.
Yeah. Everybody's looking for that armorer who's going out of business.
Yeah, that's right.
So they can bend them over.
Yeah, you have to find someone who's looking to increase. Oh, I already have 3 of those. I don't need to buy yours. Yeah, that kind of deal. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. So, so Dustin, you touched upon the rookie who discharged the firearm on set without warning anybody to show the actress what would happen, which leads me into my my next question. Who teaches the actors how to handle the firearms? Is it the armorer? Do they sometimes hire a firearms instructor? You know, how do we ensure no teacup grips and super bent elbows?
It doesn't work that way though, apparently, because I see a lot of teacup grips. It drives me nuts.
So on a bigger show where there's an actual budget, usually we'll bring in an expert. Again, like I said, I reference said armory company in town. They have a couple of armorers that have been in the business for 20, 30 years, and most of them that I can count were all servicemen before that. So they have some technical experience as well. Usually on a big show, we'll pay them for a day or two to take the actors out and teach them how to, you know, properly handle those guns in that circumstance. I know our main actor on the Marine 5, we didn't have to do that because he did the Marine 4, and they just paid for that like a year before. So, you know, we brought him in, did a quick like one day just sort of run through, just a reminder, a refresher for him. But most of that stuff he was already used to because he'd already done that. On a sort of medium to smaller budget, I've actually been the one to do it. So I did another show that's coming out on Netflix this year called Action One, or Action Number One. Hilarious story about Nick Cage's stolen comic book. Yeah, that's a hilarious tale. It was a really fun movie. But we had this actress who was playing this super badass bounty hunter slash assassin, and she'd never like seen a firearm, let alone handled one, and she had to be able to handle a whole bunch. So production paid me for a day, paid for all my ammo. We went to the range, and I ran her through a whole bunch of guns that she was going to be handling on sets, and I wasn't going to complain about having ammo paid for and a paid trip to the range. So
No, of course not.
I've got a third-hand story that's along the same lines of a friend of mine used to be in that industry and was working on a pretty major film. I won't name names, but the film had a bear in it that was pretty prominent. And they flew the actor in from wherever he was in California and flew the armor in to fire a flintlock musket once, twice, and then they were done. Off they went.
Did it have a lampshade on it?
No, it did not have a lampshade on it. No.
Not the movie I'm thinking then.
No. It was a more recent Oscar-winning movie.
Oh, that.
Yeah, that one. Yeah, that one. So
yeah.
I actually know one of the armorers on that one, but yeah, no. But the really funny thing is that I'm really hesitant to say this. Actors are the dumbest creatures on the planet sometimes.
I think you can embrace that statement. I don't. And yet they're out there telling us how to live.
Oh, it drives me crazy. Like again, in this particular circumstance, bring her out. We spent like a good probably 8-9 hours at the range all day, and that like literally 2 days later, we're on set. Hand her exactly the gun that she had just been running. It was just a shotgun, and just asking her to just rack in a load. She's like, I don't know what to do with this. Really? You pump it. Can you pump it?
Pump it for me, please. Come on.
Yeah.
You can do this. Well.
Some of them are great, but some of them are
Well, okay. And Dustin, how often do you run into actors who are familiar and or proficient?
Primary actors, rarely. A lot of the backgroundy guys will have a lot more experience with it, especially anybody that is in the background that you're hiring to like shoot a machine gun or something like that. Odds are they've done that job 20 or 30 times because they've been that background guy 20 or 30 times.
Gotcha.
To me it was so funny. Like again, I go back to like the Marine or even Action, where we had a bunch of background people all knew how to run their guns fairly well, and then you get main actors who you have to like teach them how to do it. In the Marine, we had a squad automatic weapon, like a SAW 249 SAW, and the guy had obviously never run that before, and it showed the first time he fired it. We completely ruined a take because it was just he wasn't used to it, and honestly, he was laughing the whole time, so the take was ruined. But yeah.
Okay, so super interesting stuff, Dustin. But let's talk a little bit more about you. Your involvement in firearms. You come from hate-filled rural Saskatchewan, apparently.
Yes.
So good on you for getting out of there. Not that all of Saskatchewan is bad, but every province, I suppose, has its backward places.
Yeah.
What was your introduction to firearms like? Hunting, sport shooting, and what are you into now? What do you do with your firearms primarily? Competition, blanking? What are you up to?
Oh, great. So I like I said, from small town Saskatchewan. I grew up kind of around guns, as anybody in small town Saskatchewan does. That was just a normal part of life. We had gun magazines in the school, and nobody lost their mind. On the weekends, literally, it's so funny because like I think about what me and my friends would do, just running around town with even our pellet guns and stuff like that, and like downtown, like small town Hepburn, Saskatchewan, population 200 people. We'd have the police called on us if that was happening. I think about kids getting busted for stuff that we just was normal. I had my next door neighbor. We had like magpies that were up in one of the trees, and they were annoying both of us. So he's like, "Oh, come hop on my roof. Here's a 22. Shoot them, because she's like, my eyes are gone. Just shoot the magpies. And I did. And when my mom came out, her only concern was that I'm careful on the roof. You know, that like
Beautiful.
that's how I grew up. So a little bit different than, you know, maybe someone who grew up in downtown Vancouver or something like that. I was lucky that way. I got to have a very free life, and as much as I grew up in hate-filled Saskatchewan, I did get a lot of experience that a lot of people my age don't have living in a city. My grandfather was really big into guns. My mom actually wasn't, and I mean, she'd grown up with them on the farm. She knew how to you know, cycle a firearm, but she wasn't big into them. My grandfather was, however, and so that's where my hunting experience came from. Any of my interest in shooting. He actually bought me my first handgun when I got my R-Pal. So he was sort of the shepherding me into the firearms community, if you will. He unfortunately suffered what a lot of people did during the reclassification. He lost a whole pile of guns just due to, you know, not having information that the reclassification was coming, that he could change his license to keep some of this stuff. So, and he was a proper veteran, and that hit him hard. It sort of negatively impacted him, and I got a lot of stories from it as a result. And that's sort of what sort of sparked my interest in sort of advocacy for firearms as well. I remember there's a story, tell me 100 times. He had a little Liberator pistol. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the Liberator.
Yeah.
You know, so
Really?
I think that's yeah. And I think that's, you know, that gun in and of itself, just the embodiment of it. And I think, like, to him it was, and I think to me it feels like it is too, the embodiment of why gun control as it sits is bad. The whole concept behind that gun was that people in France had been disarmed, and, you know, so here you got these really crappy guns being stamped out literally by the millions as a means to provide someone a way to rearm themselves. And so I think there's some irony in him having that actually confiscated from him.
Isn't there, though? Yeah.
Yeah. And so and that you know, that sort of bittered him a little bit for the later years in life. I was informed I would never be serving in the Canadian Forces, so I have not. I have friends that are servicemen. I have a lot of respect for the Canadian Forces, but my grandfather would spin in his grave if I had ever signed up myself. But yeah, and so I've been shooting kind of my whole life. I didn't shoot a whole lot while I was going to university, just a lack of time. And when I got out of university, like I said, I worked as an EIT for a little bit. Made one bad decision one night to go to a club, and when I left the one sort of gay club in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, had its primary entry and exit in the back, outside the back alley. It was a means to protect those people. However, when I left and I took another back alley as I was staying on the other side of the river, I ended up in a back alley. I ended up getting jumped by a couple of people who did not appreciate my orientation. And yeah, I still have some scars and some, I guess, personal trauma that I get to enjoy as a result of that. But I just...
What year was that, Dustin?
Geez, that was 10 years now. So 2008. 2007, 2008. So it's not like it was 20, 30 years ago that it happened.
Exactly. Still alive and well, eh?
Yeah. I think the thing for me that really struck me was how disinterested the Saskatoon police were actually in the situation afterwards too. It was unfortunate. They're famous for not being super interested in things like that. Which is
assaults in general, or
assaults of that
subject.
Yeah, touchy subject stuff. And that was basically, you know, what we got to. Again, like I was actually staying with my grandparents at the time when I was living in Saskatoon, and my grandfather was lit up. He's like, I'm gonna go find them myself, and I was like, no, let's not end up on the news.
Where's my Liberator?
That was exactly, yeah. That was his sort of attitude at the time. I was like, no, it's, you know, I survived it. I got a couple of scars, nothing super crazy. I ended up taking like a beer bottle to the face, so I've got a couple of scars on my face that
yeah, but you know, dudes dig scars.
Yeah, it's true. Not always.
Just chicks.
Yeah. So yeah, but the one thing, and I bring it up. I don't love talking about it, but I bring it up because while that was happening, I had this thought. This has anybody ever like locked their keys in their car or something, done something really dumb where you like
Well, daily.
you
I
know,
do dumb things daily, but
but you know, like,
specifically keys
well, just
multiple times.
something like that. You know how like time sort of slows down for a minute, and you're like, that is right there, and I could solve this problem with that thing, and I know exactly where it is, and I can't get at it.
Yeah.
I had a moment like that while I was on the ground having my like head beat in. I knew I had a means to prevent that situation. I had owned a handgun since I was 19 years old. It was at my grandparents' place, and had I, been allowed to carry said firearm, I may not have been experiencing the same situation that I did. And I just had this moment of knowing that I had the means to stop what was happening to me right then and there, and I couldn't do anything about it.
Yeah, you have the means, but you don't have the right.
Exactly. Yeah. So I mean, those things sort of, I guess, sparked my my belief in advocacy and my support for gun rights in general. And that's only grown since I've moved out here to a very, very left-leaning place as well. So it's it's good and it's bad. Obviously, I lean left in some regards, but that's one area that I sit very on the other side of the fence on.
Yeah.
Wow, you are not a stereotype. You don't just follow the narrative that the media would portray. Wow, fantastic. That's so odd. You're a freak of nature.
Right?
Media told me how you must think about all things already.
No, I know. Well, but the funny thing is that I'm not alone. Like there's a whole group of us. I joke because it started as a props thing. My entire props team are all like LGBT of some variety, not on purpose, but it just ended up the people that I worked with that I enjoyed company and we got along really well happened to be that. Shocker. But we're all pro firearms. We all own guns. My onset props girl, she weighs $110, if that. Her first handgun, and this was not. Nobody made her do this. Her first handgun was a 44 Desert Eagle. That's
Really?
yeah. And
how's that working out for her?
He handles it alarmingly well, impressively well. I've got some video of it. It's phenomenal. I took her shopping. We went to like 4 or 5 different gun stores in town here, and the one that had that thing, they tried to sell it to me because it was a stupid good deal, and they knew I would buy it because I buy everything. And she picked it up like. Before I even got a chance, she picked it up, racked that slide back one time. She's like, sold. I'll take it.
Oh.
And, yeah. And she loves it. So, I mean, so anyways, the point being is that our team, we call ourselves Q Division, sort of as a double entendre.
That's wonderful.
Right. So, yeah.
I like that.
I like that too.
Excellent.
So it's sort of turned into a thing. So like that's where Q Division.
When you need a well-dressed, well-armed prop crew, calling Q Division.
Exactly. Yeah. But it turned into a bit of a shooting club of our own. There's a little LGBT group of us that more or less sort of, again, through the Q Division group, like to get together and shoot, and we've been sort of trying to get more LGBT people into shooting because they tend to sit on the other side of that spectrum. So
Wise, yeah.
And that's the nice thing about what I do about my job in general. I make a point to at least take someone shooting every time I'm on a job. I have access to lots of very left-leaning people, and that's a constant rotation. Every 2 or 3 months, I have a new crew to work with, someone new. And if I can take one new person who's never shot a gun before, who might have a different opinion than me, but maybe just an uninformed one, and I can change that, job well done.
Cool.
Nice.
I like it.
Yeah. Sorry, I apologize. I have a tendency to talk a lot. So
no, honestly, this part was actually way cooler than the theatrical license for me.
Great.
It's neat. Yeah.
Both were good. No, there's no point in having a guest on that doesn't have anything to say, Dustin. So I'm glad we invited you on. Finally, I know that we've been communicating with you off and on through email for a long, long time. Yeah.
It's been a bit, but it's all good. As far as, sorry, to answer your other question, what I do now, I would love to shoot competitions. You guys, everyone makes it sound like a lot of fun. I work 80 hours a week plus, and often not always Monday to Friday. This last show I did, we worked 6-day weeks, and I was working all Saturdays, and I am making an attempt this year to at least try and experience a couple of shooting competition stuff. I've got everything I need for it. Believe me, I have more than enough firearms and everything else in the world. It's just a matter of time. So one of the local field officers, who's a buddy of mine, he's dragging me out to Steel Challenge next Tuesday, so I'm going to try that.
That's a
Nice.
great way to
Good for you.
start.
It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And Dustin, I'm going to throw this at you. I'm going to burn you a little bit. I am now that engineer who's been in the office for 20 years.
Yeah.
I get to go shoot competitions. Just saying.
Yeah, I know. But have you shot Deadpool's guns?
Shut up.
Yeah.
Everything's a competition.
He wins. I lose again. Damn.
Yeah. I actually do have a video. I have video evidence. I have shot Deadpool's guns. I'm one of the few people who can say that. So that, there you go.
All right. So it was a perfect time to wrap it up because we are done. That's the end. Way to end on that note, Dustin. Good job.
Cool.
Not sure if we'll have you back or not after that, but
Well, no, thank you for having me. Anyways, guys, I appreciate it. Love listening to you. It'll be hard listening to this episode. That'll be sad, but
nonsense. It'll be fine.
No, it was awesome.
Yeah.
anyway, look forward
Thank
to
you very
hearing it
much.
anyway.
Stay in touch, and I hope we have you on again sometime in the future.
Will do, and definitely. I don't know if you guys have a PO box or something, but send me an address, and I will send you a nice, crisp new 41 Action Express round.
I certainly will. I'll send that to you by email here shortly.
Sweet.
All right. Thanks, Dustin. Have a good night.
Thank you. You too. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye. That was cool.
That was an excellent interview. Well done, Trev, for bringing Dustin on. That was fabulous.
Yeah.
No worries, man. Yeah, I was glad he connected with us again. That was better than I anticipated.
Cool. Alrighty, let's get into listener feedback.
Yes.
I'll take this one, unless one of you really wants to read the email.
No, take it.
Okay. All right.
Cheers.
Cool. All right. It's not so long, so I can handle it. All right. Hey guys, I really enjoyed the interview.
That's what she said. Sorry.
All right.
We're going to start over without the interruption because
Maybe I should say the comment again because I kind of talked over you and I'm not sure if people actually heard it or not.
You know
and
what?
It was a good one.
This listener took the time to write in. They deserve to have their email read clearly without interruption.
Hi guys. I really
agree.
enjoyed the interview with Adam and
From Atlas Gunworks, and would like to try it a 2011. Do you guys have any recommendations as to a model in, say, the $1,500 range, as the Atlas guns are a touch out of my range here? Is there a caliber you would suggest to cover 3-gun and IPSC shooting? I see a lot of 40 and 38 Super, so I thought I'd see what you guys thought. Thanks, guys. Craig N. Trevor, take this one.
It's going to be difficult to find a $1,500 2011. I mean, the go-to 2011 is the blued STI Edge, and then they just get fancier from there. And right now, the Edge, I think, is over $3,000. So, you know what? Why don't I look it up real super fast because it'll come up on Freedom Ventures website right away. It'll probably be the very first link. It's kind of the 2011 that all of the 2011s are measured against. If that, well, you know, the DVC Limited is $4,352. That's probably the best factory produced 2011 right now. After that, you're looking at the Infinities, and then after that, you're looking at the Atlas Gunworks. Let me see here if I can find the cost of the Edge. It's not going to be as much as the DVC Limited, that's for sure, but it's still going to be in the, what did I say the DVC Limited was? 4,000?
you said 3.
3?
Yeah.
The Limited, no, you sure it wasn't 4,000?
Okay, maybe. I don't know. I stopped listening. Just kidding.
Here we go. The Edge. So the STI Edge right now is $2,719 new. You find one used, it's going to have some work done to it. It's going to have a bunch of mags. The guy's still going to want to spend, still going to be asking in the 2,000 range. Look at a double stack para. I guess it'll get you into a double stack 2011 style frame. The paras don't have a full length dust cover like the STIs do, so you're losing that weight up front. Remember, Adam was talking about the gun coming back to zero. So other than a para, I don't know where you're going to get a 2011 style or a double stack wide body gun for $1,500. And it would definitely be in 40. 38 Super is reserved mostly for the open gun guys. And you couldn't shoot 38 Super in IPSC standard division. It's not a recognized caliber in that division. So yeah, keep your eyes peeled for a used one, I guess. Is there a caliber you would suggest to cover 3-gun and IPSC? I would use 9mm for those, but if you want a 2011, you're going to be shooting a 40 or a 45. I know one of my buddies, the guy who got his single stack Atlas gun, his edge is in 45. I believe his catchphrase is 45 because your black belt is stupid. is what Steven says. So God love him. That's all I got. I hope it helped.
Cool. If you'd like to send an email to the show, send it to slamfireradio@gmail.com. iTunes reviews. We got nothing new.
Nope.
Cool. That's quick then. Nothing even from the Evil Podbean. Okay. That's fine.
Nothing from Evil Podbean either. I checked before.
Alrighty.
Come on, no.
All right. Let's get into the shout-outs. Trevor?
Stan at True North Arms. No, sir, you rock. He took the trouble to put a personalized note on my invoice and said that I rock. So I don't know if he's a listener or why he thinks I rock. I'm assuming he must be a listener. Otherwise, all of his customers rock. Maybe he just thinks all of his customers rock. Maybe I'm not special. I'm a little upset now. Well, thank you anyway, Stan.
I like how this turned out. This works for me. Kelly, go ahead.
No, I don't really have one.
Oh,
Maybe.
come on now. Nothing?
Okay. So I just wanted to say hey to Suddenly Minotaurs for watching from England, I guess.
Yeah.
Although he's gone to go make tea, so he says nobody do anything while he's doing that. So
I wonder what time it is there.
Time for tea, apparently.
It's
Well-
8 hours difference, I believe.
Okay.
He's ahead.
I'm not going to do the
8
math.
hours.
He is. So wow.
It's late,
He's an early riser.
or he's yes.
Yeah.
So
Crazy. Good for him. For me, Lance, if you've gotten this far in the episode, we owe you a thanks and a reminder. Nobody forced you to listen. It's on you, but alrighty. Patreon supporters, we are at 78. We have no new ones. Being a Patreonie gets you access to stuff.
Exclusive content for one. We're about to record a episode. As soon as we're done here, we're going to record our Patreon episode. You won't hear that unless you're a Patreonie.
And
you get swag. What is that, Brian?
Swag.
Get some swag. And you get that warm, fuzzy feeling deep down in the cockles of your heart, knowing that you're helping support the crew. You're making sure that the show is done without costing us money, and you're helping get Kelly out west to shoot gophers in the face. You're getting Adriel out east to come to the charity shoot. I don't think Adriel's ever left Alberta, ever. He has not gone anywhere except for that one time he lived in China. So help Adriel experience worldly things and travel, and get him
except when he went to Ontario last year for the charity shoot.
And that's the only other time. Other than that, like, he's never left Alberta. He's never been to Atlantic Canada. He's never eaten a lobster, guys. Come on.
Oh, yeah, we should do that. See, Adriel
has a list. I don't know if you guys know this, but Adriel's eaten a lot of things that would repulse the stomach on a rat. Like it would actually give a rat, indigestion. Adriel will eat it and then eat the rat who has indigestion. He'll eat anything, and he's got a list. And there's some funky animals on that list. And
a lobster should not be on that list because lobsters are delicious. Exactly. I haven't had a lobster in a long time.
No, come home.
Well, I'm hungry.
Charity shoot.
I can't come. Leave me alone.
Lame.
Yes.
Yeah, reality sets in.
Jay Hines is going to be here. That's weird. Usually where he goes, he drags you with him.
Hey, this is true. Yeah. Oh well. He's a big boy. He is
that indeed, and a grown up.
Yeah, okay.
I look forward to seeing him hug Gallon. Where did Gallon go?
This is true. Will you guys please wake up Gallon for me in the official charity shoot wake up fashion?
With the air horn?
Whatever. Yeah.
You got it. And then is the time I literally opened the tent, drug him out, opened his mouth, stuffed some Tylenol. I'm not going to the range. Not acceptable. You are coming to the range. Open the tent, pull him out by his ankles, stuff Tylenol in his mouth, throw a water bottle at his crotch. I'll be in the truck.
That was one of my happiest moments, watching that happen. All right, cool. Let's sign off. Listeners, please join one or more of our national firearms associations, such as the CCFR, the CSSA, or anything else you think is a good use of your money to support. It's important to support.
I'm convinced. I want to join them all now.
He's not allowed to do lead host anymore. Go.
It's important to support those who support us. Get shooting IPSC. Take a Maple Seed challenge. Shoot a 3-gun match at a local club. Bust some sporting clays. Get out hunting. Blast some some long range F-class targets, and shoot some service conditions. Check us out on Gun Owners of Canada. Send us a message. We'll respond. Give us a like on Facebook. Right now, we've got 1,842 likes. That's a lot of likes.
1842. That was a good year.
It was a good year. We picked
That's
up
when
like
you were born, Kelly?
This week. Oh, Kelly, that's you can't hear that finger on audio, but the listeners saw it, or the watchers saw it. Never mind.
Anyways, bye.
All right. Thanks for listening and watching, everybody. It's been fun.
All right, let's unlive this thing. Well, we're gonna switch to Skype now because we're not doing Patreon live.
Cool.
End broadcast.